Hello, I work teaching children and running around in nature. This is my job. Now, many adults say they want to change jobs, but don't know what they want to do. It's a pity that there's only one finite life to live. It's hard to imagine for those who philosophized about how to live during their youth, but it's a common story that I often hear. But don't worry, you can learn from children. For example, when they stand in a situation like this, they will think without hesitation, what should we do? They might throw rocks to the other side of the bank. Make a dam over there. And try to catch fish where they think they might be. Avoid going to a dangerous area where only adults go. Jump into the water from up high. Collect pretty stones. Watch over everyone from a shady spot because the water looks cold. It's a healthy decision-making process, without any hesitation. What they're doing is this. See the world. One, see the world. Look at what's possible, such as the weather, water flow, and rock condition. Two, look at their current abilities. Three, conceive the most enjoyable game they can play today with what they can do now. Four, make a decision. Five, keep working on it till the end. That's all it takes. And if you get bored and lose interest, just modify the game you decided on. Once, something like this happened. The kids begged me to play soccer at the Shinto shrine, which can be found all over Japan, in the precinct. The ground was bumpy, with ups and downs, but the kids didn't care. They came up with their own unique style of soccer to play there. As for the girl, on one side was a narrow gap between two thin trees, and on the other side was a wide gap between big tree and stone pillar. The size and height were completely different, but they started anyway. As soon as it became 5-0, children started saying, one after another, stop, let's change the team members. And they restarted with the teams that had different numbers of members on each team. What is shown here is the idea of continuously changing the game, changing the rules by themselves to make it more interesting. This is the essence of playing. If you spend plenty of time playing outdoor games like this in childhood, this is natural. Regardless of the weather or differences in individual abilities, you can enjoy life anywhere. However, those who did not grow up that way are having a hard time as adults. This is due to the nature of the heart, and I think there are 4 reasons for it. One, public eyes. people who care too much about what others think about them. This is actually a characteristic that has deeply penetrated the culture of Japan. Being especially sensitive to embarrassment, I would say, is a part of Japanese culture. For example, when a child throws a tantrum at a restaurant, instead of thinking, I will confidently scold my child because if I let this behavior continue, they will face difficulties in the future. Japanese people might think, I wonder if the people around me think I'm a bad mother for not disciplining my child properly. This may not make sense to most people in the world, but it is certainly a prevalent way of thinking in Japan. People who evaluate the value of things based on someone else's evaluation criteria have the same characteristics that I've just said. They care too much about test scores, annual income, prices, and brands. And they tend to feel relieved with those numerical values. 2, comparison. People who constantly compare themselves to others and judge their own worth as lower. Don't you think what we should do is to simply focus on whether our own hearts are excited or not? People tend to compare things that are similar to determine which is bigger or heavier, and this habit of comparison is difficult to break. The problem arises when people compare themselves to others in a way that negates their own current situation. For example, thinking that class is better, that company was the right choice, and maybe I shouldn't have married this man. And other similar negative thoughts about their current state, it's really sad. It's impossible to completely stop comparing oneself to others, and it's okay to enjoy competing in games and sports. But instead of lamenting about what could have been in another place, it's better to think like children at play. Let's make this moment with these people the best it can be. We should strive to always live with the mindset of let's make the person in front of us smile, rather than dreaming of being somewhere else. This is how we should live our lives. 3, feeling forced to do something. When studying people who lack vitality and energy in their eyes, the feeling of being forced to do something often comes up. For example, let's say a new employee attends a training session and is told what tasks they need to complete in the next 3 months. Most young people feel a sense of purpose and excitement. But one young man lets out a sigh and says, he's trapped in the obsession of feeling forced to do something, accumulating stress every day. It's not uncommon and it's painful. Of course, he's not a bad person, but a victim. When asked, he didn't have plenty of free play times where he could come up with ideas, decide, and complete tasks on his own since childhood. He was always pressured by schedules and told what to do. The feeling of being forced to do something has seeped into him. What's important is to allow oneself to decide on various things like what to play, how to play, what book to read, what to buy, and what hobbies to start. 4. Complexity. Having been in the field of education for over 30 years, this is the most difficult issue I've encountered, particularly with children aged 10 and above. Once they become trapped in these complexities, it's very difficult to overcome them. I'm bad at math. I hate science. I won't ever be popular. These beliefs are so strong that it's as if their hearts have been encased in concrete. Through years of experience, I've realized that this issue is similar in structure to confidence. That is to say, it's like a kind of magic of the heart that can occur in a single day, single episode on a certain day in the life. That is, sorry. For example, I was a shy child who couldn't speak properly at school until the 2nd grade of elementary school. But in 3rd grade, I was able to transform thanks to my homeroom teacher. Enu Sensei, who became my homeroom teacher, was wonderful. She had a smile like that of a blessed saint, and her facial expression when he met in the morning made me believe, oh, this teacher really loves me. Now, one day, a puzzle quiz that is the essence of combinatorics was presented as the last thinking problem on a test. The problem was, how many rectangles are there, both big and small, in this picture? The answer is like this. I deeply concentrated and had room to think things like, oh, everyone might forget to count this part, etc. On the day of the test return, Enu Sensei said, I'm returning the test, but don't put it away yet. I'm going to explain the last problem. This one was difficult, wasn't it? As she began to explain, she then turned back and said, oh yeah, only Takahama-kun was able to do it. That was a moment when a crack formed in the armor of my heart that was wrapped in a kind of anxiety, close to fear towards social life. Following that, the teacher continued, you know what? I asked in the staff room, and it seems like Takahama-kun was the only one in the entire grade who was able to do it. At that moment, a joy that made me want to lose control overflowed, and the armor of my heart crumbled. It was a moment when I was given the magic of confidence. From the next day on, I kept saying, I'm good at puzzles, I'm good at puzzles, and became talkative. And 50 years later, I became the kind of person who would publish dozens of puzzle books. Actually, one of my hobbies is interviewing, and when I ask people who are well-known, I found many of them cherish the words of a certain teacher, parent, or coach that was said on that day and that time. They recall it in their hearts over and over again throughout their lives and create strong confidence. Casual words, spoken words, adults have a very significant influence. The opposite of confidence is complex. What if I had been unable to answer just one question, and the teacher had said to me, everyone else was able to do it. Takahama, you're the only one who got it wrong. And everyone laughed at me. I would have been under the magic of complex. And even after passing 90 years old and being surrounded by grandchildren, I would still whisper, Grandpa was bad at puzzles and math. This is the magic of both confidence and complex, where they are formed through episodes, and once they are ingrained in their heart, they are difficult to change easily. As adults, we can learn from children's play. And I think what we can do as adults is to give children good magic with words that will make their hearts flexible and strong. Providing a good foundation for children to live brightly in any era in the future, I believe this is what we can do. Thank you.